Welcome to the Wisconsin Music Podcast.
Welcome to the Wisconsin Music Podcast. We're excited to feature Michael Rosa, guitarist, vocalist, and band leader of the group The Now. With over 20 years in the Wisconsin music scene, Michael has built The Now into a well-established cover band powerhouse, playing around 80 shows per year and amassing a loyal following of over 18,000 fans. Known for their high-energy performances and expansive set lists of rock, country, and pop hits spanning 5 decades. The Now has become a staple in Milwaukee and the surrounding areas, consistently captivating audiences at some of the largest festivals venues in the market. In addition to leading The Now, Michael has embarked on a new venture this year with his own podcast, where he dives into discussions on health, wellness, and music, while interviewing industry figures who inspire him. So join us as we discuss Michael's journey, the evolution of The Now, and his passion for performance and well-being. Also remember, new episodes drop every Tuesday, and past episodes air on Fox Cities Indie Radio on Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Sundays at 3 p.m. Wisconsin Music Podcast is where we like to amplify Wisconsin music, and we'd like to welcome Michael to the Wisconsin Music Podcast. Michael, welcome to the show. How's it going?
It's going amazingly well.
Good. And is that life? Is that music? Is it just all-encompassing?
Everything, life, music. Couldn't be really happier at this point. Everything's going very, very well in all ventures. So pretty exciting. A little too, almost too busy to get everything done in a day.
I know that feeling. I can't believe it's almost, it's Wednesday night already. And just remember, it felt like it was Monday yesterday, but the weeks seem to be like flying by so quick.
Yeah, and it's November, in a week, so that's
pretty much
that's crazy.
I know. It's like, especially with the weather we've been having, it's like this is not as normal as we're used to. But I'm not gonna complain about the nice, upper 70s weather. That's for sure.
No one will.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the music, about The Now. How did you get into music? How did you get started? What did Tell us your origin story.
I started playing music, and I was really into music because my father was really into music. He did not play an instrument, but he was extremely into music. So I grew up in a household just listening to all kinds of music material, and he was playing it all day long, every day, in the car, at home, everywhere. So that's where I got into music, and then I started playing drums when I was 11 years old, and did that through junior high, and then got into high school, and then I decided to start playing music. Started playing music from the drum set in a 50s, 60s band. So I was playing in bands live since I was 17 years old, going to high school, playing in bands on weekends and that type of thing. Then I eventually had got into writing some original material in the late 80s, and I ditched the drum set and decided that I wanted to just be a lead vocalist, because I was singing from behind the kit in the 50s, 60s band for several years. So just decided to ditch the kit and go out front and pick up guitar and did the original music in the 80s, and then the rest is kind of history. That's where I got my music start.
Fantastic. So how did The Now become what it is today?
So I joined the band, it'll be 20 years ago, January 4th of 2025. So I joined the band. The band had already been in existence a couple of years.
Okay.
And I just came in as a guitar player, added me as a guitar player. There was 3 brothers that were in the band at the time: Chris DeBrawl, Corey DeBrawl, and Jason DeBrawl. So I joined the band, and then about a year or so, less than a year after I joined, the 2 main brothers in the band decided they only wanted to do like a show once a month or so. They had been, hitting it pretty hard with the band for a couple of years, and they wanted to downsize a little bit and then just pull back on playing out live. And myself and the rest of the people in the band really wanted to continue going, because we had really started to develop the band. And when I joined, they were doing a little bit more poppy stuff. So when I joined, we started doing a little more Night Range, a little more Journey, a little more Loverboy, stuff like that. So we all wanted to keep going, so we decided to keep going. The 2 brothers left the band, and then I kind of took over managing and running the band short time after that.
So, what kind of advice would you give people that might want to take that role in their group as a manager? What are some things that you've learned over the years that is helpful to those that are trying to get into this?
Well, I think if you're going to run the band, you have to lead by example. And I believe that you have to, no one is ever going to work as hard as you're going to work in the band. And that's to be expected. So I don't think you can expect everyone to take it as serious as you do, but I think you need to, you have to establish a couple of things right up front if you're going to lead and run the band, what the vision of the band is, what the band is going to be and what it will not be, upfront and honest with people, how much you're going to play, how much you're not going to play. And like I said, lead by example. So you're willing to put in the extra work, the extra rehearsal time. And so when they see you willing to put in that time, then that most times will make others want to put in that time and effort as well. And then honesty, upfront, forward honesty and openness with everyone in the band about every aspect of the band and every aspect of the business of the band.
And do you find that those things that you have learned as a manager and taking those steps as that progressed into like the podcast that you do and other things that's part of your life?
Yeah, I think I've always been a leader type of personality, and I take everything I do in my life, I take it a very serious level, and I get a very I'm a very detailed person, so I like to dig into the very minutia of the details because I think that's where bands and successful businesses, that's where they thrive, because people pay attention to the small details, because it's all the little small details that add up to a successful business or a successful band. And I think that carries on into everything else I do, the health coaching that I do and the podcast that I do. All of those things are all wrapped up in one general aspect of who I am as an individual, which is a very detail oriented person. I really dig into the details.
Nice, nice. And then with the band, you're saying you've been in it for 20 years, so 15 years before, pre-pandemic, now 5 years pretty much post-pandemic. What are some of the things that you've had to change on either side of the fence of the pandemic to keep the band from falling apart?
Well, I think that during COVID, we all had to make some changes, and that was a tough period because we played a lot less that summer. We only played 12 shows that summer. Typically we play about 40-45 shows, and that year we played 12, so we played less, and we had to decide if we wanted to play, because a lot of bands were saying they were not going to play. And fortunately we had band members in the band at the time that were all like, no, let's play, no matter what we got to do, let's play. So I think I don't see a lot of things post COVID. Well, I mean, I do see a lot of things about the music industry and the music scene post COVID, but I don't think anything that we changed or that I changed with the band. I don't think I changed anything from the band aspect post COVID. I think that everyone and their brother and their sister now has a live music venue, and everyone has a little stage, and everyone has a duo, and everyone has a trio, and everyone has a band every single weekend. And I think there's way too many clubs having live music out there, and it is diluting not only the talent that's out there, but it is also, it's making it harder for new bands to get out there. In some respects, new bands can get out there and find a place to play, but because there's so many duos and trios and stuff taking up all these other slots, I think it's actually making harder for bands to get slots. Because and that's post COVID, because the year after COVID was our biggest year summer wise. We did 46 shows this summer, and that's because everyone had live music. They were just excited to have live music back. So
yeah,
everyone,
right.
So it was just gangbusters, and I think that carried over. So now everyone's got live music. I mean, you go in, so if you were playing in Waukesha on a Saturday night, June 7th on a Saturday night, maybe you had 2 festivals. Or let's say you're playing in, November 5th, and prior to COVID, you might have had 2-3 main bars in your area that were having live music, and 1 or 2 of them was really good, and the other band was not very good at all. Now, you have 6 bars having full bands, and you have 8 to 10 bars having a duo and a trio. And some of the people that are in the duo trio are also in a very popular band. So they're drawing people to the duo trio that they would never normally draw to that duo and trio. So it's spreading the audience thin. So now the days of where all the clubs are packed, 250, 300 people, those days are over. And that's a fallout from COVID, and a fallout because everyone's just oversaturating the area.
You feel that's in just like major, not major cities, but like from Waukesha size up? Do you think that's kind of happening everywhere in those size counties and cities, or do you think it's happening like throughout the state?
I think it's happened throughout the state because I see it up by me. I live in Manitowoc, and there's lots of duos and trios playing in Green Bay and Fox Valley, and then there's bands playing in Fox Valley, and it's all, a big, wide area that has just an oversaturation of bars, which is good. Don't get me wrong, it's good in some respects because it's a lot more opportunities for people to play.
Right.
But it just means that venues have to accept the fact that they're not going to have packed nights every night because there's just too many other people having live music. And it's just spreading the draw amongst 15 venues rather than amongst 5 venues. So, and topple that off, I think this is another fallout from COVID. When COVID happened and nobody was going out to live music, people found other interests, and they reacquainted themselves with some of their other interests that they forgot about, whether they like to play board games or whether they like to go do something on a weekend that's not live music related. They fell in love again. They bought boats. They bought summer cottages.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of these things happened from COVID that also spreads the draw thin. Live music is not the only entertainment value in town anymore.
No.
And venues have to accept that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the sports bars probably have gotten a little bit more busy now after COVID. And like you said, if it's getting to the point where it's getting oversaturated with, people going out and trying to perform at every corner bar and small venue and the like, then you're right. It's going to just get to the point where it's maybe less than 100 people at those places that used to have, like you said, 250 to 300 people.
100%.
Yeah.
And what's happening too is, so if you have all these extra open slots of performance times, what happens is, I remember a day when there was a couple clubs in town that you had to be a top tier band in order to even get a chance to play that venue.
Yeah.
Where you'd have a venue where only the top 6 bands were playing that venue because it was a top A level room and only those bands got in. Now, those bars have everywhere from the top tier bands to bands that are not very good at all because they have so many open slots and they want to do music Wednesday through Sunday. And so I believe it's diluting the music scene. And I fully believe this because bands that are not very good are still going to get a lot of jobs. And what happens is, if you were not very good and you couldn't get the job, you had to make sure you were really good. You had to fix your craft. You had to work on the band, make sure we're singing well, make sure we're playing well. Are we promoting well? You had to really, really, really be good at what you do. Now, anybody can get a job in almost any venue in the greater Milwaukee area because there's so many slots to fill.
Yeah. So do you have any ideas on what could be a solution to have better entertainment at these venues?
The first thing I would do is, if I don't think running live music from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, unless you're a venue that, and here's the other part that's happening too, is you have restaurants that are doing these things. So if a band comes in on a Wednesday and there's nobody there, because I watch the videos, I see the pictures, and there's absolutely nobody there on a Wednesday, and they're an okay band. They're not a super great band, but they're okay. It doesn't matter to the venue owner that no one showed up because they make so much money on the food. It's just a write-off for them at the end of the day. So they don't really need to make big money. So my solution would be, let's make live music a super special event again. And you're never going to be able to do that because everyone needs live music, because it does bring in some extra people. So if you have a guy who wants to put a patio and put some acoustic people on a patio, if he brings in an extra 25 people, he's way happy.
Right.
Way happy. But to me, in the long run, it dilutes the scene because it doesn't force you to be really, really good at your craft anymore. It allows mediocrity to reign within the scene at a very high level. And I don't think that's good for any of us musicians. When back in my day, I scratched and clawed my way for years to try to get into some of the rooms that we played to this day. And we busted our hump to make that happen. And nowadays you can be a new band with no requirement of you proving yourself at all. And if you know the right people, which has always been the thing, obviously, but because there's so many slots to fill, you will walk right into that bar.
Hey, Wisconsin Music Podcast listeners. Are you looking to elevate your music with a personal touch? Let me introduce you to ZTF Studio, where your sound finds its true home. At ZTF Studio, we create more than just great recordings. We create an experience. Our cozy, home-based studio in Southeast Wisconsin is designed to make you feel comfortable and inspired. Imagine walking into a space where your music is treated with the same care and passion you put into it. With over 20 years of experience, we know how to bring out the best in your sound. Whether you're a solo artist or a full band, you'll get personalized attention and expert guidance every step of the way. We blend technical expertise with a warm, welcoming vibe to make your recording sessions enjoyable and productive. So, come on in, grab a cup of coffee, and let's make your next crowd pleaser together. Visit ztfstudio.com to book a conversation with Zach about your vision for your next project. ZTF Studio, where your sound feels at home. Now, back to our amazing guest.
So for bands out there that are listening, people that are in groups, and they know that they still have some work to put in, what are some steps do you think that they should take in their practice to become better?
Number one thing I suggest, and we've been doing this in the Now for decades, is record your shows. Audio record from the board. We take a board recording and it's not a great recording because it's from the board. So it doesn't,
right.
It doesn't sound like it sounds out front.
Mm-hmm.
But it is the most illuminating piece. It's like watching game film. It's like a football player's watching game film. Record your shows often. We record almost every show. When we get into summer, sometimes we won't record because we've recorded a lot in the fall, but we will record. Record yourself and then force the band members to listen to the recording and come to rehearsal with a notepad of things that they heard that they think needed to be addressed. And be willing to not look at this process of I'm pointing out what you suck at and I'm pointing out what you suck at.
You're right.
Don't look at it that way. Look at it as a way that we all get better. Because if I'm messing something up, or if you're messing something up, it doesn't really matter if you or I are off. What matters is that the band is off. So, and you got to have someone in the band that's willing to be kind of the hard guy in the band to say, look, you're off key on this, or you're playing this part wrong, or you're rushing this part, you're way out of time. Mm-hmm. Like there's got to be someone in the band. And the bands that have those type of guys in the band are the bands that succeed 100%. But getting back to the point of with so many slots, you could easily be a band, making a couple $100, and you could play all the time in this town and be happy. And if you're happy with that, that's great. I'm just saying, to your question, if you want to get to a high level, people ask me all the time, well, I want to play festivals and I want to play this venue and this venue. And what do you think I should do? And I'm like, improve your craft.
Yes.
Improve your craft and work on it hardcore. That would be my number one suggestion.
Absolutely. I mean, national acts, that's all they do is they record their shows, they listen back, they critique it, and they improve on the parts that need to be improved on. If they're going to stay, at a national touring level for a career, that, more times than not, I believe that they have to keep improving themselves.
100%. I saw a backstage, it was a tour documentary video with Keith Urban.
Okay.
And he was walking to the stage and the intro was playing. And he was standing there next to the stage manager who had a walkie-talkie on. And Keith was like looking out at the stage and the intro's rolling. He's like, "Where's the smoke?" And he's like, "I don't know." He's like, "Yeah, there should be smoke going right now." He's like, "We got to get the smoke going. Get the smoke going." So right away, the guys on radio, "Hey, where's the smoke? Where's the smoke?" So this tells you, Keith, now think about this. Keith Urban, at the level he's at, he could just sit back and be like, "Hey, whatever, smoke, no smoke, I don't care, whatever. Let's just go play the show. I'm making millions of dollars." No, he's still at his level critiquing not only his band's performance, his sound and lighting crew's performance.
Yes.
He's still critiquing to this day. And that's why people get to a high level, is because they're willing to always constantly be in a self-improvement mode.
Yes.
And all of us can learn from that.
Yep, definitely. So we kind of talked about the pros and cons, of your perspective of the live music scene. Now, you guys do cover songs a lot. Have you ever decided to go into a recording studio and kind of even though you do cover songs, just to do a professional recording?
No, because we also we can take a recording from the board and then remix it. We can throw it in a DAW on a computer, and we can mix the levels and make sure the levels are proper. So we've done that to get live audio for booking purposes.
Right.
But I'll tell you, I've been doing this booking thing for a long time. And when I say what I'm about to say to you, people are shocked by this. For number one, rarely do I book a show on the phone. It is almost always text or email when negotiations happen. And number two, for your website, what you need is a good 1.5-minute, 2-minute video with really good audio and maybe 4 or 5 audio sound bites. That's all you need.
Because people don't have time to sit there for 20 minutes, half hour, listening to everything you have posted on there. They're in and out.
Exactly. And with social media right now, they don't need to go to your website and sit through a 1.5-minute, 2-minute. And I see people making 5-minute promo videos. No venue owner's watching a 5-minute promo video. You'll maybe get 60 seconds out of a guy. But we also live in the age of social media. So if I want to see if you're an okay band, I don't even have to go to your website. I'll just go to your Facebook page and watch some live videos of you. And as brutal as it may be, because sometimes the live doesn't always translate through the microphone, they will get an idea. Is there a good crowd? Are they having a good time? Does this band sound good? Can they sing well?
Yep.
Can they play well? And so the days are over of the electronic press kids at this level, the cover band level.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about your podcast that you do? Let them know. Sure. So tell us about that.
Yeah, it's kind of this thing where I have a lot of people that I see out in the scene, and that, like I said, getting back to constant improvement, that doesn't just go for my band members. That's me. I'm always wanting to learn and always wanting to research and get better at what I do. And the podcast is just an extension of that. It was a selfish way of me to get some people on the podcast that I wanted to pick their brain about how they do things and how they got to where they were. It was just a selfish thing of mine. And so that's all I did is I started doing that. And then I also juxtapositioned it with doing my health coaching thing and talking about health topics, because a lot of musicians I know out there are struggling with health issues, and nothing is worse than trying to play a 3-hour show when you don't feel good.
Yeah, that's for sure. What's the title of your podcast?
The Rosa Report.
The Rosa Report. Okay. So listeners, if you're sick of listening to this podcast, go check out his other one.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of really, really important people on from the local music scene on. John Hauser I've had on there. I had a guy from Road Trip, DJ from Road Trip. Had Rebel Grace on there, and they give a lot of good advice and input. And I learned stuff too from these people. And so, like I said, that's why I do it, is because I learn every day. I probably spend 3 hours a day immersing myself in knowledge every day.
Nice. Sometimes I ask my guests, if you could go back 20, 30, 40 years and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give yourself?
Continue to write original music. I have a lot of original music that's kind of just sitting there. It hasn't been finished yet. I really want to get back to that. And what happens is when you get into a cover band, and I'm being brutally honest right here, bro. When you get into a cover band, sometimes you can get so busy in the cover band world that you find that you don't have time to do recording and do original music. And if I had to go back and tell my 21-year-old guy who was writing a lot of original music and releasing a lot of original music, I would say keep that as your main focus. Never get away from that, and continue to build on that. And that's what I would say.
Nice. Any plans in the near future, maybe going back and start doing that again for yourself?
Yes, absolutely. 2025 is going to be the year I am going to finish up some of that original music. That's for sure. So that's
Awesome.
definitely on my horizon. So
So when you get that to the point where you're going to start releasing it, would you want to come back on and kind of talk about that adventure that you're putting yourself through?
oh, absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah, I've been a songwriter my whole life, and that was my main passion. And the cover band thing was a way that, because I love music and I love performing music, and so it's just another extension of me performing a love. But songwriting is my first love by far.
As we're wrapping this up, where can people go check you out? I know we talked about, people usually go to Facebook, Instagram, sometimes websites. Do you have all three? And if so, what are the addresses for those?
Yeah, and that's another quick tip I'll give for people out there. Still have a website. People are like, well, I just get the Facebook page. Have a website. Have your phone number on the website. Can't tell you how many times I tried to get a hold of a band for a gig that I was trying to hook them up with, and I can't even get a hold of them because there's no phone number to be found anywhere on any of their social media. So that's another tip for bands out there. But you can find us. TheNowBand.com is the main website that has all the information, always updated. Facebook is at The Now Band, and Instagram is at The Now Band. We have a YouTube channel. We put videos up there. That's The Now Band Milwaukee. And I think that's everywhere we got it.
Excellent. And what venues do you usually return to mostly, so people can check you out?
Yeah, we do like Paulie's. We do Bub's Irish Pub. When I was called Schmitty's, we were doing Pistol Pete's in the area. But we're a band that likes to travel. So we're a very different band. There's a lot of bands around here that will just play the same area, and they'll play just the same 5, 6, 7 clubs, and that's great. We travel a lot. We've been to Minnesota this year. We've been to Illinois this year. We're going to Iowa in a couple of weeks. We're going to be doing Michigan. So we love to travel. So we like to go out Madison, Watertown, Green Bay, Wisconsin Rapids. So we're starting to branch out and do a little bit more of that than we are locally. And because a lot of the bars, there's not as many bars locally to play for full bands of like us.
Yeah, right. So I would take it those dates that are going to be coming up in the future for your performances are going to be on website and probably your Facebook page and things of that nature.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we keep our website and our Facebook page up to date religiously, so it's always up to date. And you can jump on the email list. If when you go to the website, the window will pop up, ask you to get on the email list. That's actually the best way to stay in touch of where the band's going to be, because Facebook doesn't always put you in another person's feed. It's all part of the algorithm process,
Right?
And so I have bands that I follow. I never see their content. And that's all because I haven't clicked on enough liking the page.
Right.
I haven't watched a couple seconds of a video. So if I'm not interacting with the page, you'll get dropped off the list. So the best way to follow us is get on that email list.
There you go. So listeners, a lot of great advice on this episode from Michael. So take heed, listen to the episode again, take some notes, because he's been doing it for 20 years. And as you can hear, they've been very, very successful, and I think that's the road that might be something that you guys need to follow. So, Michael, is there anything else you'd like to say before I let you go for tonight?
Yeah, just if you have a passion for this is my life passion, and I treat it that way, and I treat it with respect that way, and I put everything 100% into everything I do for the band, as a manager, as a leader, as a booking agent, and as just a guitar player on stage. And I think if you want to be successful, you have to be willing to put the damn work in, and that's just the way it is for everybody. But be passionate about it, be kind to people, and be upfront and honest with people. There's a lot of shady people in this business. Be upfront and honest with people.
Yes.
And go out there and live it with the zeal, man, and just go out there and kill it.
Yeah, perfect way to end it. Thank you, Michael, so much for being on the Wisconsin Music Podcast. It was a pleasure talking with you, and thank you so much for all the great advice and just, spending some time here.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
What another great episode here on the Wisconsin Music Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the great information that Michael was talking about and how he's running his very successful cover band, The Now. So go check out his group. His website is thenowband.com. Has all his dates labeled there, and just interact with them. Thanks to Fox Cities Indie Radio for syndicating this on Thursdays and Sundays, along with their other great programming. So make sure you check out the Fox Cities Indie Radio. For those of you who are new to our show, the Wisconsin Music Podcast is dedicated to showcasing the incredible talent of Wisconsin-based musicians and the thriving local music community. Our episodes drop every Tuesday on all streaming platforms and YouTube. Additionally, you can catch our episodes on Fox Cities Indie Radio every Thursday at 6 p.m. and Sunday at 3 p.m. If you'd like to be on the show, just go to wisconsinmusicpodcast.com, fill out the guest request form up at the top, ask for your email and your name, and then I'll send you an auto email asking you for more information. If you are enjoying these episodes, please consider donating to the Wisconsin Music Podcast. Donations help pay for the website and putting the podcast up on streaming services, and also getting our name out there to all Wisconsinites and others that are interested in our great music here in Wisconsin. Donations are secure through PayPal and Stripe. All you have to do is go to the website and click on Donate to WMP. You can also head over to our Instagram and Facebook pages and like us there. Leave some comments. Also go to the podcast review section of your podcast player and leave a 5-star review. Would be great. You can also head over to YouTube and watch the interviews and leave comments there as well. Well, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Wisconsin Music Podcast. Once again, I'm Zach Fell, your host and creator of the Wisconsin Music Podcast, where I love to amplify the great sounds coming out of the Wisconsin state. We have great talent here, great support, great listeners. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next time.